Catherine Reed's world shatters as she watches her husband, Robert, succumb to a terminal illness. Amidst her grief, a hidden secret surfaces, leading her to a young girl named Emily, whose connection to Robert unveils a shocking truth. As Kathy grapples with betrayal, she discovers an unfinished will, a runaway child, and a promise that tests her limits. Journey with Kathy through heart-wrenching revelations and unexpected alliances, where love and resilience transform their lives in unimaginable ways. What is the secret that binds them? And will Kathy fulfill Robert's final wish? Listen to uncover the gripping twists that define their extraordinary story. Catherine Reed, affectionately known as Kathy, was a dedicated high school art teacher in Austin, Texas. At 32, she had a fulfilling career and a loving husband, Robert Reed, a 43-year-old physical therapist. Their lives intertwined beautifully from the moment they met at work, leading to a whirlwind romance and marriage within 8 months. Despite their deep love and mutual respect, the couple faced a shadow over their happiness. Kathy was unable to have children. This unfulfilled dream weighed heavily on her, but Robert's unwavering support and love helped her navigate the pain. Robert's diagnosis of amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, brought another wave of sorrow. The disease was relentless, gradually robbing him of his physical abilities. As his condition worsened, he focused on making the most of his remaining time with Kathy. One of his final wishes was to be buried next to his parents, a request that Kathy was determined to fulfill. She spent her days juggling her teaching responsibilities and caring for Robert, her heart breaking as she watched the man she loved fade away. One afternoon, Kathy visited the cemetery to make arrangements for Robert's grave. The air was crisp, and the sun cast a golden hue over the rows of headstones. As she walked through the cemetery, she noticed a young girl sitting alone near a grave, her eyes red from crying. Approaching her, Kathy gently asked, "Are you okay?" The girl, Emily Carter, looked up with tear-streaked cheeks. "I'm just visiting my mom. She passed away recently." Touched by the girl's plight, Kathy offered her some food and sat beside her. They talked, and Emily shared her story. Her mother, Mary Carter, had died of pneumonia a few months ago, leaving Emily in the care of her Aunt Susan, who was already struggling to take care of her own children. Emily's vulnerability struck a chord with Kathy, reminding her of her own unfulfilled dream of motherhood. Back at home, Kathy was determined to ensure Robert's comfort in his final days. She installed a camera in their bedroom to monitor him while she was at work. This allowed her to check on him during her breaks, ensuring he was safe and cared for. One day, while reviewing the camera feed, she overheard a conversation that shattered her. Robert was on the phone discussing Mary and Emily, and he mentioned a promise to look after them. Kathy's heart sank. She felt a wave of betrayal wash over her, suspecting that Robert had been unfaithful. The thought of Robert having an affair and fathering a child with another woman was too much to bear. She confronted him that evening, tears streaming down her face. "Why didn't you tell me about Mary and Emily?" she demanded. Robert, weak and frail, looked at her with sorrowful eyes. "Kathy, it's not what you think. Mary and Dean were my friends. Dean died suddenly, and I promised to look after his wife and daughter. There was never anything between Mary and me. I didn't want to burden you with this, especially with everything we've been through." Kathy felt a mix of relief and shame wash over her. She had doubted Robert's integrity, even though he had always been a man of his word. His compassion and commitment to his friends only reaffirmed her love for him. She apologized, and they spent the evening reminiscing about their life together, cherishing their remaining time. Robert's condition continued to decline, and one peaceful evening, he passed away in his sleep. Kathy was devastated, her heart aching from the loss of her beloved husband. Sorting through his belongings, she found an unfinished will. In it, Robert expressed his wish to leave an apartment to Emily, ensuring she had a stable home. Kathy knew she had to fulfill Robert's promise. She contacted David, a mutual friend, to learn more about Mary and Emily. Together, they discovered that Emily had run away after overhearing plans to send her to an orphanage. Kathy and David were frantic, knowing they had to find her. They searched the cemetery, where Kathy found Emily hiding. The girl was scared and hungry, but Kathy's presence calmed her. She reassured Emily that she would never be sent away, promising to take care of her. With Susan's consent, Kathy began the adoption process. It wasn't easy, especially with the memories of her past trauma resurfacing. As a teenager, Kathy had been assaulted, an event that left her unable to bear children. But now, caring for Emily gave her a new purpose. The girl quickly became the light of Kathy's life, filling the void left by Robert's death. In the midst of this, Kathy found solace in her work. Teaching art allowed her to express her emotions and connect with her students. She often brought Emily to school events, integrating her into the community. Emily, though initially shy, began to thrive in the supportive environment Kathy provided. As the adoption process neared completion, Kathy, Emily, and Susan visited Robert's grave. They stood together, remembering the kind and loving man who had touched all their lives. Kathy vowed to honor Robert's memory by caring for Emily, embodying the resilience and love he had always shown. The bond they shared was a testament to the enduring power of love and the strength required to face life's adversities. The story of Kathy, Robert, and Emily is one of love, sacrifice, and resilience. Despite the challenges and heartaches, they found a way to support each other and create a new family. Kathy's decision to adopt Emily symbolizes her unwavering commitment to Robert and the promise they both believed in, to care for those they loved, no matter the cost. This journey, though fraught with pain and loss, ultimately led to a newfound hope and the creation of a loving home. Kathy felt a whirlwind of emotions as she navigated the days following Robert's funeral. The house felt emptier, each corner echoing with memories of their life together. Despite the sorrow, Kathy was determined to keep Robert's final wish alive, especially concerning Emily. She knew she had to ensure the girl was taken care of and given the chance to thrive. David, a longtime friend, became Kathy's pillar of support. He had known both Robert and Mary, and was instrumental in helping Kathy understand the depth of Robert's promise to his late friend, Dean. They sat together in Kathy's living room, sifting through papers and discussing the next steps. Robert was always someone who kept his promises, David remarked, looking at the stack of documents. He would want us to make sure Emily is safe and loved. Kathy nodded, her heart heavy yet resolute. Emily deserves a stable home, and I want to fulfill Robert's wish. We need to find her and ensure she knows she's not alone. The search for Emily had led them to the cemetery once before, and Kathy's encounter with the scared, hungry girl was still vivid in her mind. Emily had been reluctant to trust, but Kathy's genuine concern had slowly chipped away at the girl's defenses. She promised Emily she wouldn't be sent to an orphanage, a promise she intended to keep. Emily, now staying temporarily with Kathy, began to adapt to her new surroundings. The house, filled with remnants of Robert's life, was slowly becoming a place of healing and new beginnings. Kathy enrolled Emily in school, ensuring she had the supplies and support needed to catch up on missed education. The art supplies Kathy brought home for her students often ended up in Emily's hands, sparking creativity and joy in the young girl. One afternoon, as Kathy prepared dinner, she overheard Emily talking to a friend on the phone. The conversation was filled with hesitations and pauses, but what struck Kathy the most was Emily's underlying fear of abandonment. "I'm scared they'll send me away," Emily whispered, her voice trembling. Kathy's heart ached. She knew she had to reassure Emily that she was here to stay. That evening, after dinner, Kathy sat down with Emily on the couch. "Emily, I heard a bit of your conversation earlier," Kathy began gently. "I want you to know that you're not going anywhere. You're part of this family now, and I will do everything to keep you safe and loved." Emily looked at Kathy, her eyes wide with a mix of hope and skepticism. "But what if something happens? What if I have to leave?" Kathy took Emily's hands in hers. "Nothing is going to happen. You're my daughter now, and this is your home. I made a promise to your mother and Robert, and I intend to keep it." The words seemed to sink in, and for the first time, Emily smiled without a trace of worry. It was a small victory, but a significant one for Kathy. She saw the resilience in Emily, a reflection of the strength she had to muster in her own life. Days turned into weeks, and the bond between Kathy and Emily grew stronger. Kathy's colleagues and friends noticed the change in her, the way she seemed more purposeful and content despite her recent loss. Emily, too, began to flourish. She made friends at school, her grades improved, and her passion for art blossomed under Kathy's guidance. One weekend, Kathy decided to take Emily to the park where she and Robert used to spend time. It was a beautiful, sunny day, and the park was filled with families enjoying the weather. Kathy packed a picnic basket with sandwiches, fruit, and Emily's favorite cookies. As they walked through the park, Emily's eyes lit up with excitement. "I used to come here with my mom," she said, her voice tinged with nostalgia. "We would have picnics just like this." Kathy smiled, feeling a connection to Mary through Emily's memories. They found a spot under a large oak tree and spread out a blanket. Kathy watched as Emily ran around, her laughter echoing through the park. It was a moment of pure joy, a stark contrast to the grief that had weighed them down for so long. After lunch, Kathy and Emily sat together, watching the clouds drift by. "I miss her," Emily said softly, referring to her mother. Kathy wrapped an arm around her. "I know, sweetheart. I miss Robert too. But we have each other now, and we can keep their memories alive by being happy and taking care of one another." Emily nodded, leaning into Kathy's embrace. "Do you think they're watching us from heaven?" Kathy looked up at the sky, a sense of peace washing over her. "I believe they are, and I think they're proud of us." As the sun began to set, they packed up their picnic and headed home. Kathy's heart felt lighter, knowing she was fulfilling her promise to Robert and creating new memories with Emily. However, life wasn't without its challenges. The adoption process was complex, filled with legal hurdles and emotional trials. Kathy often found herself overwhelmed, but she never let it show in front of Emily. She wanted to be a pillar of strength for the girl, just as Robert had been for her. One evening, as Kathy was sorting through more paperwork, she found a letter Robert had written to Emily. It was tucked away in a drawer, addressed to Emily with a simple note on the envelope, "For Emily, when she's ready." Kathy's hands trembled as she opened it, her eyes scanning the heartfelt words. "Dear Emily, if you're reading this, it means Kathy has become your guardian. I want you to know how much I cared for you and your mother. You are a special girl, and I promised your father I would always look after you. Kathy is a wonderful person, and she will take care of you with all the love in her heart. Be strong, be kind, and know that you are loved. With love, Robert." Tears streamed down Kathy's face as she read the letter. It was a poignant reminder of the promise she had made and the love that bound them all together. She decided to give the letter to Emily the next day, hoping it would bring her comfort and a sense of connection to Robert. The following morning, Kathy handed Emily the letter. "This is from Robert," she said softly. "He wrote it for you." Emily's eyes widened as she took the envelope. She opened it carefully, her eyes scanning the words. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she looked at Kathy with a mixture of sorrow and gratitude. "He really cared about me, didn't he?" Kathy nodded, her own eyes moist with tears. "Yes, he did, and so do I." Emily hugged Kathy tightly, and in that moment, Kathy felt the weight of her promise lifting. They were not just surviving. They were healing and building a future together. As the days turned into months, the adoption process neared its final stages. Kathy and Emily settled into a comfortable routine, their lives interwoven with love, resilience, and the memory of those they had lost. Kathy's dedication to fulfilling Robert's promise and creating a loving home for Emily was unwavering, and it was clear that they were both stronger for it. The story of Kathy, Robert, and Emily is one of profound love, sacrifice, and resilience. Through their trials and triumphs, they discovered the true meaning of family and the enduring power of a promise kept. Kathy's journey from grief to hope, and Emily's transformation from a scared, lost girl to a cherished daughter, is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the boundless capacity for love. As they stood together at Robert's grave, they knew that he was watching over them, proud of the family they had become. Kathy's decision to adopt Emily was not just a fulfillment of a promise, but a celebration of the love and resilience that defined their lives. They were a family, bound by the unbreakable ties of love and the promise of a better future. Kathy's resolve to adopt Emily only grew stronger as time passed. She navigated the complexities of the adoption process with unwavering determination, knowing that Robert's wish and her own heart aligned perfectly in this mission. The legal paperwork, home visits by social workers, and emotional ups and downs were daunting. But Kathy faced them head-on, buoyed by the vision of a secure and happy future for Emily. Emily, on her part, was gradually coming out of her shell. The stability Kathy provided allowed her to focus on her schoolwork and friendships, and her natural talent for art blossomed under Kathy's nurturing guidance. Kathy's colleagues and students also rallied around her, offering support and encouragement, which further reinforced her belief in the community she was building for Emily. One chilly autumn evening, Kathy and Emily were curled up on the couch, sharing stories about their days. The atmosphere was warm and filled with a sense of belonging. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, interrupting their moment. Kathy got up to answer it, finding David standing there with a serious expression on his face. "David, come in," Kathy said, a bit surprised. "What brings you here this late?" David stepped inside, shaking off the cold. "I have some news, Kathy. It's about Emily's Aunt Susan." Kathy felt a pang of anxiety. "What happened?" David took a deep breath. "Susan is struggling more than we thought. Her financial situation has worsened, and she's been trying to manage everything on her own. She reached out to me because she's worried she might not be able to keep taking care of her children and Emily." Kathy's heart sank. "Oh no, that's terrible. What can we do to help?" David looked at her with a mix of concern and hope. "I think the best thing we can do is expedite Emily's adoption process. Susan is supportive of the idea, and it might be the only way to ensure Emily's well-being without further straining Susan." Kathy nodded, her resolve hardening. "I agree. Let's do everything we can to make this happen quickly. Emily needs stability, and I'm ready to give her that." The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Kathy worked closely with David, social workers, and legal advisors to fast-track the adoption. Emily sensed the urgency but was comforted by Kathy's unwavering presence and reassurances. The bond between them grew even stronger during this challenging period, cementing their roles as mother and daughter. One afternoon, as Kathy was preparing lesson plans, Emily came into the room, holding a small box. "Kathy, I found this in Robert's things. I thought you might want to see it." Kathy took the box, her curiosity piqued. Inside, she found a collection of mementos, photographs of Robert and his friends, letters, and a small, intricately carved wooden box. She opened it to find a delicate silver necklace with a heart-shaped pendant. "This was his mother's," Kathy whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. "He always kept it close, as a reminder of family." Emily looked at the necklace, then back at Kathy. "It's beautiful. You should wear it." Kathy smiled through her tears, fastening the necklace around her neck. "Thank you, Emily. This means a lot to me." As winter approached, Kathy and Emily decorated their home for the holidays. It was a bittersweet time, filled with memories of past celebrations with Robert, but also with the excitement of creating new traditions together. They baked cookies, hung ornaments on the tree, and filled the house with warmth and laughter. One snowy evening, Kathy received a call from their adoption attorney. The final hearing had been scheduled for the following week. Kathy felt a rush of emotions: relief, joy, and a bit of nervousness. She shared the news with Emily, who jumped into her arms, eyes sparkling with happiness. "We're going to be a real family," Emily said, her voice full of wonder. "We already are, sweetheart," Kathy replied, hugging her tightly. "But now it will be official." The day of the hearing dawned bright and cold. Kathy and Emily dressed in their best clothes, trying to keep their nerves in check. David met them at the courthouse, offering words of encouragement and support. As they waited in the courtroom, Kathy couldn't help but think of Robert and the journey that had brought them to this point. When their case was called, Kathy and Emily walked to the front, their hands clasped together. The judge, a kind-looking woman, reviewed their documents and asked a few questions. Kathy spoke from her heart about her love for Emily and her commitment to providing a stable, loving home. Emily, too, spoke softly but clearly about how much Kathy meant to her and how she felt safe and loved. The judge listened attentively, then smiled. "I see no reason not to grant this adoption. Congratulations, Kathy and Emily. You are now officially mother and daughter." Tears of joy streamed down Kathy's face as she hugged Emily tightly. It was a moment of triumph and fulfillment, a testament to their resilience and the power of love. David clapped them on the back, his own eyes misty with emotion. As they left the courthouse, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a golden light over the snowy landscape. Kathy felt a profound sense of peace and gratitude. They had faced many challenges, but they had emerged stronger, united by love and determination. Back at home, Kathy and Emily celebrated with a special dinner, their joy evident in every smile and laugh. They were not just surviving. They were thriving, building a life together filled with hope and happiness. As the evening drew to a close, Kathy and Emily sat by the fireplace, the flickering flames casting a warm glow. "Thank you for everything, Kathy," Emily said softly. "You've given me a home and a family." Kathy looked at Emily, her heart overflowing with love. "You've given me just as much, Emily. Together, we've created something beautiful out of our pain and loss. And I know Robert and your mother are proud of us." Emily nodded, her eyes shining with tears. "I miss them, but I'm so happy we have each other." Kathy hugged her daughter, feeling the weight of their journey and the promise of their future. They sat together, watching the flames dance, knowing that they had found strength in each other and a love that would carry them through whatever lay ahead. The story of Kathy, Robert, and Emily is one of love, sacrifice, and resilience. Through their trials and triumphs, they discovered the true meaning of family and the enduring power of a promise kept. Kathy's journey from grief to hope, and Emily's transformation from a scared, lost girl to a cherished daughter, is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the boundless capacity for love. Together, they faced adversity and emerged stronger, united by the love and memories of those they had lost, and the promise of a brighter future. Winter slowly gave way to spring, and with it, a renewed sense of hope and growth. Kathy and Emily had settled into their new lives together, their bond growing stronger each day. Emily was thriving at school, her artistic talents gaining recognition, while Kathy continued to find fulfillment in teaching and caring for her daughter. One weekend, Kathy decided to take Emily on a trip to visit Susan. They packed their bags and drove to the small town where Susan lived. The drive was filled with laughter and stories, and Kathy felt a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in a long time. When they arrived, Susan welcomed them with open arms. "It's so good to see you both," she said, hugging Emily tightly. "You've grown so much." Emily beamed, feeling the warmth of her extended family. They spent the day catching up, sharing stories, and enjoying each other's company. Susan's children were delighted to see Emily, and the house was filled with the sounds of laughter and playful banter. That evening, as they sat around the dinner table, Susan brought up a topic that had been on her mind. "Kathy, I've been thinking a lot about the future. Now that Emily is officially your daughter, I want to make sure she knows she's always welcome here. You both are family to us." Kathy smiled, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "Thank you, Susan. It means a lot to us. We've been through so much together, and knowing we have your support makes all the difference." Emily looked around the table, her heart full. "I'm so lucky to have all of you. Thank you for being here for me." The visit to Susan's home was a reminder of the importance of family and the strength that comes from unity. Kathy and Emily left with a renewed sense of connection and the assurance that they were part of a larger, supportive network. As they returned to Austin, Kathy reflected on the journey they had undertaken. She thought about Robert and the promise she had made, realizing how far they had come in fulfilling it. Emily was no longer the scared, vulnerable girl she had first met. She was blossoming into a confident, happy young woman, surrounded by love and support. One afternoon, as they were enjoying a quiet moment at home, Kathy received a call from David. "Kathy, there's something I need to discuss with you. Can we meet up?" Curious and slightly concerned, Kathy agreed. They met at a nearby cafe, and David's serious expression immediately caught her attention. "What's going on, David?" Kathy asked, trying to keep her voice steady. David took a deep breath. "I've been doing some digging into Mary's past. There's something you need to know about Dean." Kathy's heart skipped a beat. "What is it?" David leaned forward, his voice low. "Dean was involved in some illegal activities before he died. It seems he owed money to some dangerous people. I'm worried they might come after Emily, thinking she has something of value." Kathy felt a cold wave of fear wash over her. "What should we do?" "We need to be careful and make sure Emily is safe," David said. "I've already contacted the authorities, and they're looking into it. But you should be vigilant, just in case." Kathy nodded, her mind racing. "Thank you, David. I appreciate you looking out for us." As she returned home, Kathy couldn't shake the feeling of unease. She knew she had to protect Emily at all costs. She talked to Emily, explaining the situation in a way that wouldn't frighten her, but made her aware of the potential danger. "We just need to be cautious," Kathy said, hugging Emily tightly. "But don't worry, we're safe here." Emily nodded, trusting Kathy's reassurances. "I know you'll keep me safe." Despite the looming threat, Kathy and Emily continued to live their lives, finding joy in their daily routines. Kathy installed extra security measures at their home and kept a close eye on their surroundings. The support from David and the authorities provided some comfort, but Kathy remained vigilant. One evening, as they were getting ready for bed, there was a knock on the door. Kathy's heart pounded as she approached, peering through the peephole. To her relief, it was David, accompanied by a police officer. "Kathy, we have good news," David said, his face breaking into a smile. "The people who were after Dean's debt have been apprehended. You and Emily are safe now." Tears of relief filled Kathy's eyes as she thanked them. "I can't tell you how much this means to us. Thank you for everything." Emily, who had been listening from the hallway, ran to Kathy, hugging her tightly. "We're safe, Mom. We're really safe." Kathy held her daughter close, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and relief. They had faced so many challenges, but they had come through stronger and closer than ever. With the threat behind them, Kathy and Emily focused on their future. They continued to build their lives, creating new traditions and cherishing the memories of those they had lost. Kathy's dedication to her work and Emily's artistic talents flourished, bringing them both joy and fulfillment. One sunny afternoon, Kathy and Emily decided to visit Robert's grave. They brought flowers and a small sketchbook filled with Emily's drawings. As they stood by the headstone, Kathy felt a deep sense of peace. "Robert, we did it," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "We kept our promise. Emily is safe, loved, and thriving." Emily placed the sketchbook on the grave, her eyes shining with love and gratitude. "Thank you for everything, Robert. We miss you, but we're doing okay." As they left the cemetery, Kathy felt a renewed sense of purpose. She knew that life would continue to bring challenges, but she also knew that they had the strength and resilience to face them together. The bond between her and Emily was unbreakable, forged through love, sacrifice, and the enduring promise they had kept. The story of Kathy, Robert, and Emily is one of profound love and resilience. Through their trials and triumphs, they discovered the true meaning of family and the power of keeping promises. Kathy's journey from grief to hope, and Emily's transformation from a scared, lost girl to a cherished daughter, is a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the boundless capacity for love. As they walked away from the cemetery, hand in hand, Kathy and Emily knew they were ready to face whatever the future held, united by the love and memories of those they had lost and the promise of a brighter, happier life together.